Hello, good afternoon, and welcome back to the dRofus Demo Nahr series. My name is Chris Rizal. I'm joined today by my colleague Jasper Wong.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Demo Nahr.
So today's Demo Nahr is about our dynamic graphical user interface, or DynGUI, as we call it for short. This is where you can create custom properties in the software that show up instantly in the interface. They can also be synced with models, plus they're available for reporting, hence the name dynamic. Jasper will go into the details in just a second, but there was also a user group a few weeks ago in Sydney about this very subject. It was recorded and is available on YouTube, so definitely worth a watch if you'd like to find out even more. Normally these webinars come in around the 15-minute mark. We might be 1 or 2 minutes longer today. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Jasper.
Thanks, Chris. Just let me. Yes. So for today's Demo Nahr, the key takeaways are, DynGUI gives you the flexibility to add, group, and layout fields to collect any data you need on your project. All the data fields are not tied to dRofus software versions and can be linked with models to push or accept data, respecting the data type, such as numbers or text. You as our users would know once the data values is in dRofus, it can be produced in the reports. Our agenda for this afternoon is to show and tell what DynGUI is, why it is used, and how to use it, using examples from the room modules, item modules, and occurrence modules. So what is DynGUI? DynGUI is a function that allows database administrators to add organized fields to the software interface. In other words, making dRofus flexible. Of course, we do have our default fields. Fields can be added at any time during the project. For clarity amongst all the stakeholders, we will recommend that the fields are created as early on in the project as possible. It will be minor additions of the fields during the project. For non-database administrators who are in this Demo Nahr or watching this, it is beneficial to know what DynGUI is, so you know what to ask for when you need your database admin to create new fields in your project. For database administrators, this Demo Nahr will provide you a starting point to discover the flexibility of dRofus through this interface. You are probably using DynGUI, but probably don't realize it. The fields are typically found in room data in the rooms and the templates modules, item data, occurrence modules, and others as well. For all projects, collecting data collaboratively is important for consistency and having every stakeholder relying on the same information. Equally, it is also important to be able to export information for various deliverables that has different information selected from the database. And here we've got a small selection of information exports that can be created from dRofus. So how does DynGUI help your use of dRofus? We will go through 2 scenarios. The first one is a project that's not using dRofus, and the information is stored either in the native model format, Excel files, or PDF. The data can be coordinated, but they remain in different buckets, or we call it siloed data. It requires effort to consolidate all the different silos of data into a structure that can be utilized by all the project participants. The second scenario is where all the non-geometric information is stored in dRofus and synced to the model. The stored data follows a schema, which means that data is stored in a structured manner, making the information easier to understand. Without doing a poll, I presume the second option is preferable amongst the audience. So the outcome for today's demo is to show you how to set up the user interface to collect the data you need, And when you create a report such as a room data sheet, the layout in the PDF is the same as that in the user interface within the software. We will use a simple object, a roller blind, which are used on many projects these days, to illustrate how DynGUI can be set up and used to add briefing requirements to a room, record its specific details, and also collect some instance information from the Revit model. And this instance information can be used for procurement activities. To access the DynGUI, you will need database administrator permission. This provides you with the dynamic GUI options and also the project and database administration options. For this demo with the DynGUI, we will be using the room data, items data, and occurrence window panel. From the project and database administration, we will be using the room data view filter and items type filter. For the first demo, let's say you are in a meeting establishing some window dressing requirements for an office fit out, and you need to create additional fields to record the requirements. These fields will have a tick box to activate the text field and a drop-down menu. These two new fields will have a drop-down option for roller blind types and operators. We want to put these new fields at the bottom of the window group. Browsing to the room data panel and DynGUI settings, the easiest method to create these new fields is to duplicate from current ones. And we're going to use this method for the first requirement. After duplicating, we will update the field names. We will also check the enable disable function that's linking the checkbox to the drop-down field. Lastly, we will update the drop-down options. You can always test what you're building by saving and refreshing. The bottom window will show the UI, and you can test within the environment. We will set up the second requirement from scratch, where we will create an element level object and select the tick box and drop-down field. We'll name this, set up the enable disable function, linking the drop-down field with the checkbox. Lastly, we'll provide the roller blind operator options for the end user. When we finish, we'll save and close the window. The next step is to assign the fields to view filter. You need to assign to all view filter for it to show in dRofus web, and also to the arch view filter for architects to see those fields. After reloading the environment and going into the room modules, the two new fields are available for the project team to input client's requirements. And of course, if there are other types of dressings or operators required, the administrator can go back into the DynGUI editor and add more to the drop-down options. If that demo was a bit quick for you, we'll take you through the DynGUI editor, which is what we have on screen. The top left panel is a browser showing the structure of the user interface. The top right panel displays the properties of the selected objects in the browser. The bottom panel shows the layout of flag, which is what we call in dRofus terms. You might call it tag, and that shows the layout of the entire flag. And here we will show how the different levels in the DynGUI editor are displayed in the software. At the highest level, we have the flag. Next is the group, then the element, and the field, which is where you input your data. As a note, room and items modules are displayed in the room data and item data respectively. For occurrence, the DynGUI is displayed in the occurrence properties windows. And we also have a number of out-of-the-box fields under general, product, and connections. We will share this and the previous two slides for your easy reference in our follow-up email. Now that we have created the fields and collected some data, the next step is to produce a report, in this case, a room data sheet. This is to demonstrate that for the different flags, you can create a PDF with the same layout as a user interface. In this example we have here, the image shows the tree column in the user interface and the tree column in the exported reports. For this next demo, we will be showing how the flag setting changes the layout of the PDF report. This setting controls how the flags will display in the exported report. Also worth noting is I'm using the new rooms detail reports in this demo. The left-hand side of the video would show the software and the PDF outputs. The right-hand side shows the settings we are using at the flag level, so you see side by side. For demonstration purposes, I will only be exporting the doors and windows flag. For the first report, we'll be using the flag setting. The flag setting will lay out the group down the page, meaning one group below the next, meaning it looks different from the dRofus user interface. For the second report, as the fields are organized in 2 columns, we will be using the 2-column flag setting. Just noting, whenever you change a setting, we will suggest to clear the cache and reload the environment to get the latest changes. We'll now recreate the report, and as you can see, the report is now showing a 2-column layout, which is similar to the user interface layout. So we have briefed up the roller blind requirements in a room. During the design phase, you have created a roller blind item in dRofus. There are many fields available and only some are applicable for the roller blind. We will show you how to create an item's view filters and select the fields required and assign the view filter to the Windows group. So we have a dummy item here, and as we cycle through the flags, we can see these are all the fields that's available in the database. To specify windows and Windows dressings, we will need a subset of this. We do this in the items type filter to create a new view filter. You can also duplicate an existing view filter to use it as a starting point. Give the view filter a name and populate the right side of the window with the fields you want to appear. When you've completed the selecting all the fields, save and close out of the dialog box. And you'll need to reload the environment. Back in the items module, we'll apply the new view filter to the Windows dressing group, meaning that all the items under the group will now have the same set of displayed data fields. And looking at the roller blind item, we can see a smaller subset of the fields required to be completed by the project team. This will help the team to focus on the necessary and required information for this particular item. After specifying the roller blinds, the team have assigned it to the office space and would like to be able to record the sizes of each roller blind. We will set up fields for the occurrence to record the dimensions of these roller blinds. These are the fields that we will show how to set them, how they are set up. For this, we'll be going into the item occurrence window. The setup for the new fields are similar to the room and items DynGUI. As we are getting the blinds from the size of the blinds from the models, we will set up length, height, width, thickness fields as a numeric field. There are a few settings for this number field. First is to set the format in terms of the number of digits and decimal places. As the unit of the field will be in millimeters, we'll allow 10 digits and no decimal places. The 10 digits allows a large measurement in millimeters, and as there are no decimal place, so no decimals within the millimeter unit, we will have a 0 after the comma. We will also assign a unit to the numeric field from the drop-down list that corresponds to the units in the model. During synchronization, if the units are different, the numerical numbers will be converted to the equivalent units. For example, if we set the dRofus data type of the length in meters, when we synchronize length of 3000 millimeters, the number will be converted to 3 meters as a conversion. When we have finished setting up the fields, we'll save and return to the settings page. The next step is to assign the new fields to the view filter. For the occurrence dim GUIs, we'll be assigning it within the items type filter, where you will select the fields and push it to the right side of the window. Save any changes when you've completed. Browsing back to the occurrence properties, you can now see the fields when you select the roller blind occurrence. Hopefully you can start to see the pattern for what we are doing here today, to create new fields and then add the new fields to the view filter, and you can use it in your project. Back to this workflow, the last step is to import the sizes from Revit into dRofus. So within Revit, you will need to map the parameters and attributes so the values flows from Revit to dRofus. In this case, the 3 roller shutter blinds are the same size, so there's no need to split the occurrence within dRofus. As the sizes are the same, they will have the same values. However, if the sizes are different, you will need to match each roller blinds in Revit to individual roller blind occurrences in dRofus. Once the sync is complete, the length and the height values are now in dRofus. The information is ready for sign-off and for the procurement team to order the roller blinds for installation. So we have shown you many things about DynGUI. It is what allows dRofus to be flexible and set up fields to collect any data or information for the project. The information can then be reproduced into WYSIWYG reports. We have also come to the end of the demo now. I hope you can see the power of DynGUI for your project. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Jasper. That was really great. So today's session was pretty jam-packed. The key messages I'd like you to remember are fields can be added very quickly and easily. They can be included in reports, but they also don't have to be. Second one is reports can mirror the format in the interface, but as Jasper showed, maybe you want a different look and feel for the data entry to what you want in the reports, and that's certainly possible. If you're about to create an Excel on your desktop, stop and think about whether that data needs to be shared with others, and at least consider adding those fields to dRofus via the DynGUI. I know lots of customers who kick themselves for not doing that, but I've yet to meet any that regretted doing so. And most importantly, don't suffer in silence. If you need a field added, speak to the dRofus admin on your project, and if need be, refer them back to this seminar. So Jasper, just in case anybody joined late or they want to share this with their colleagues, how can they find the recording?
So the recording for this session will be posted onto the dRofus YouTube channel. Today, we've collected all the demo videos into a playlist. And in particular for this session, once it's uploaded, we will be sending out an email notification.
Fantastic. So our next session will be in a few weeks' time. Invitations will be going out shortly. And if you've got any feedback, please feel free to reach out to Jasper or any of the team. Thanks very much for joining us today, and we'll see you again next time.
Thanks, everyone.